we'll start with the Tom Wilson thing because it's huge in the hockey scope. Like, he is just Satan. Like, people hate him, man. Like, they hate him. Like, especially now the Rangers fans, what he did last night. What he did last night, and I'll break it down real quick, is there's a scrum. He's on the penalty kill, by the way, which means, like, you're a good player. Not only are you on one of the best lines in the last 10 years, you're on a penalty kill and you're playing 20 minutes a night, and you're just a really, really talented overall player that no one could replicate in the NHL. But you're crazy. He crazy. Very handsome, too. Crazy. Great guy. Had him on the podcast. Actually really like him. He texts me all the time. Not all the time, but once in a while he'll text back, hey, what do you think? Just a good dude. Like, he really is. And you talk to people, he's a really good guy. But he's hated, and he does crazy stuff. And last night he's in a scrum on the penalty kill where this Russian kid comes in. He kind of digs at their goalie, trying to jam a puck in, but he kind of spears the goalie. So Willie just comes on and gets on top of him, punches him in the back of the head, which it wasn't a big punch, but he hit him in the back of the head when his face is down. It's not good. You lay on top of him. A brawl ensues. No one drops their gloves, which is so gosh dang bizarre, right? Like, you don't drop your gloves. You just grab each other. It's like, fine. But Willie's kind of on the bottom of it, Tom Wilson, and then Artiem Panarin, who is also a great human being. Thank God he's still alive because Putin was going to steal his family.
Putin doesn't think he's a great person.
No doubt about it. A lot of those Russian guys, man, half the country, I think, hates him just because that's just the way it is over there. Actually, that's the way it is over here, too, to be honest with you. But anyway, so Panarin, who's a smaller guy, jumps on Big Willie. And Willie gets up, and this happens all the time. And you kind of like, you have a little wrestling match, like, no, I'm going to beat you because I'm bigger and stronger. That's not privilege. Yeah, it is privilege, but that's what you are. I'm a bigger, stronger guy than you. And you know what I'm going to do? And if I was in that situation, I'm going to throw your ass down. Unfortunately, his helmet came off. He didn't hit his head, but it looked very awkward, looked weird, and it's a scary, scary thing. You never want to. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Heat of the moment. Not to mention there's 5-on-4, so you always have that in the back of your head. If you're penalty killing or something happens and you're down a guy and the brawl happens, your head's on a swivel. You go into psycho mode. Like, this is the way it is. Scary. It's a scary thing. So he throws him down. Looks awkward. He could have really pumped him, man. And I'm not even going to say it because I don't want Giovanni to get mad at me. But he really could have pumped him bad. And he didn't. He threw him down, awkward, this, that, and the other. Then he goes and he does this macho man flex. I used to do that in juniors. I don't like him doing that now. You don't want to cause more attention on yourself. And not to mention, like, hockey karma's going to get you, dude. It's just going to happen. Like, you do that kind of stuff, and you flex, and you show off, like, you're going to get caught by somebody one of these days. And it's
okay.
Just, that's the way it goes. But, so anyway, this is real quick, and I'll let you chime in. That all went down. Social media is in an uproar. A lot of the old school tough guys and stuff like that, Ryan Whitney, like, we're all kind of, I don't chime in too much, but that's my take on it. I've talked to 2 different radio shows this morning already. I said he could have done more damage. Did it look awkward? Yes. Does this stuff happen all the time? Yeah. No one threw a punch. It's just guys throwing each other down. Tom Wilson got fined $5,000 because he kind of barely half punched a guy in the back of the head who speared his goalie on the penalty kill. So that's what went down. Twitter's in an uproar. Ryan Whitney comes out and says something to the effect, like, kind of chirping the Twitter fans. And a lot of Twitter fans are like, this guy's a bigot. Ryan Whitney, you're the worst guy in the world. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'll give you an example. I go, have you met him? Well, no. No. Well, how do you know he's the worst person in the world just because he's kind of trolling you a little bit on Twitter? Don't you guys do that every second of the day? What's the difference? That dude donates charity. There's so many. He does so much stuff. He's a cool guy, this, that, and the other. How do you know that? Like, so, like, they're just all hypocrites. I get why people are banty about this situation. Tom Wilson is a monster on the ice. People hate him. They go crazy about him, and rightfully so. But in this particular situation, like, they had a wrestling match, and it just looked bad. Go ahead.
I'm continuing to watch, and I'm watching slow-mos and all that.
Yeah.
So obviously the first time around with the Russian guy, where that guy's head is also coming down in a compromised way, where he just gives him the jab on the shoulder or the midsection. And then with Panarin, and I'm watching it super slow-mo, and I'm not saying it's right, but it looks like they're wrestling. They go to the ground. Panarin's helmet's off. And because Wilson is much bigger than him, it does look really bad when you super slow-mo it. And it's also like, because Panarin is not able to stand his ground and they're on skates, I don't know.
It looks like a bully.
No, it does. It does. Yeah. It looks like a bully. And, you know, if Panarin falls in a different way, it doesn't look as bad.
Yeah, no doubt. Rock, can you find what player safety said, George Peros? on there's a quote he had about why they gave him the fine, why they didn't give him a suspension. I don't know if he just put that out, and again, people are just, I mean, the Twitter folk who act like they are just God's gift of just I'm perfect are the same that hate violence, are the same ones that like want his head off. So it's like, kill him. Well, we don't like violence, but kill him. Like, you guys are, God, you're psychos, man. I can't even keep up with it. And you know, if somebody says one thing like, no, I think this is fine. You're the worst human being. What? I just donated like $50,000 to charity. I just helped inner city kids. I did this. I did. What have you done, little Twitter boy? Like, what have you done? Like, you guys, just because they don't agree with you and you think they're a horrible human being, it's like, what have you done? Oh, God, I'm sorry. A little wound up. That's all.
No,
good.
I think, and again, it's
God.
one of those things, too. It's almost like the Zapruder film when you're watching it in super slow-mo and you see Panarin's head, and you got a guy who's what? Panarin's about 5'11", 180. Tom Wilson's what? 6'3".
230.
230, so he's much bigger. And it's one of those things where if Tom Wilson is wrestling with somebody of his size, that other player is not going to fall in that same way. So it does look like a bully. The more I watch it,
it looks bad, but it's not that malicious. Like, it's just not. Like, there's 50 other variables that could have happened where he could have just really got loose and pumped them, dude. I told you, man, when you get in that psycho mode, when you know there's an extra guy on the ice, or like you hit a guy and you think guys are jumping you, like I'm telling you, if you look that up on YouTube, I'll show you. Look up the hit I had on, and I got out of it, and I'm like, somebody's coming after me, and I knew they had some tough guys, but it wasn't a tough guy, and I just didn't think, and I pumped them so bad, and I'm like, oh God. Afterwards, I remember guys that were sitting out on the Capitals, Jason Chimera, came after me in the press box. And I go, dude, I'm sorry. I go, Jason, I'll go all the way down the locker room, and I'll talk to Bradley. I went down to their locker room during the game when I was kicked out, and Jason Chimera almost fought me. Then I talked to him. I go, well, although I'd kick his ass, but I respected him because he was a veteran. And he takes me down the locker room, and I sat with Bradley. I talked to him, and I apologized. But, man, it's just weird, man, and people absolutely hate him, and he does stupid things, and karma's going to bite him in the ass, dude. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. But in this particular situation, it looked bad, but it really wasn't that bad.
Cam.
In the grand scheme of things. Go ahead.
As an enforcer in the NHL for about 10 years, when you were fighting, where I'm guessing you have to have no fear to do that job, but if you had any, was it more about your head awkwardly hitting the ice than actually being caught by a punch?
No, it was more like I'm going to get embarrassed.
Okay. But
it wasn't about being hurt.
Okay.
Never.
But watching different hockey plays over the years, watching different fights, we know these are ridiculously, you guys are the best athletes in the world, going 100 miles an hour on skates. You're fighting. You can lose your balance. What I'm saying, though, is, to me, the most cringeworthy plays in hockey, it's not necessarily somebody getting punched in the face square. It's when that player loses their balance and the head hits the ice, whether it's from a hit or from a punch or a scrum like this. Those are the ones
here's the deal.
that
You're
really
right.
do look bad.
Fine. The guy that's in charge is George Peros. Look up his fight with Colton Orr when he played for the Canadiens. Look up his fight on YouTube after the show, after both our shows, and see he hit his head off the ice because Colton Orr threw him down in the fight and messed him up. And so, like, that stuff happens. But also, like, okay, fine. Yeah, I worry about hitting my head off the ice. Damn right. I've done it a million times. I've hit my forehead, hit my back. I told you, Colton Orr in St. Louis fought me, and I fell down, and he hit my back, and I was, like on my knees, like, ugh. And he hit the back of my head, and my head hit the ice so hard, dude. I'm like, oh, God. And I told you I was driving home with my buddies, and I puked everywhere in the car. And I was dead sober, and I was puked everywhere in the car. Like, whoa, what is that? Like, you're concussed, okay? Like, that's what you don't got the flu, you're concussed. And then the next day I was fine, but it's the worst feeling. But also, you can get punched right in the jaw and get buckled, and then hit your head on the ice. Or my scariest thing is, you don't know what the scariest thing for me is? Not hitting my head off the ice. It's going 100 miles an hour on a forecheck. 100 miles an hour, and get tripped up by somebody, and you slide 5 feet away from the boards, going 100 miles an hour, and everything slows down like whoosh. and you're like, oh my God, bam! And you're like, oh, where am I? Can I feel my legs? Can I feel this? Am I paralyzed? That's the scariest thing in my opinion.
Right, and excuse me. That's where I'm saying. Sorry about that. I'm getting so.
What are you doing over there, buddy?
I'm telling you, it's always these rock star recovery taurine drink, lemonade flavor. No, that's kind of what I meant. It's the head being put in an awkward position, and so we all know hockey is a violent sport. It's a contact sport. It's a collision sport, and so from that standpoint, the difference between a clean hit and then all of a sudden a player just bending down a little bit, and then all of a sudden the impact goes to the head and the neck towards the boards. That's my thing. We see some of these plays, and these guys are going 100 miles an hour, and all of a sudden somebody slips up, somebody bends down, and then the head, the neck are in vulnerable spots, and you mentioned paralysis and all that. And Tom Wilson is a multiple repeat offender. He's done this before. He's a nasty dude, man.
Right. He's a nasty dude. It's just he's done worse than this, and people want him dead. And it's just like, pick your battles. Like, he's going to elbow somebody again, then you give him 25 games. Maybe you'll give him the whole year. Like, just wait. He'll do something again. But people are like, well, why do we have to wait till it? Well, because he didn't do enough. Because he didn't do enough this time. And by the way, he was penalty killing, which is like, that means he's a captain of one of the best teams in the league. He's on one of the best times, best lines in the last decade. He's one of the most important players in the NHL as far as what he could bring to the table, skill, all that. Everybody calls him a goon, and he sucks at what? He's unbelievably good. He made 15 plays that game, but he did a stupid play, but it wasn't stupid enough. But he's going to do something stupid again, and then let's jump on him. But this time it's like he just threw down Panarin. Anyway, God Almighty. Splashback Deuce, and I'm gonna hit. You got to hit this live read, and we're gonna go to break. Splashback chimes in and goes, "Are skate blades ever a thought in your mind?" You're damn right. Skate blades are always a thought. You get cut all the damn time. That's why Carlo Kolyakvo came out, and we got this nice gear that kind of just protects all the arteries and things like that. I'll show you exactly what it is. I'll post it on. We'll post it on Facebook and things like that, where you just kind of protect everything, like where you're. Dude, I got cut in my wrist, and you don't even know it, and all of a sudden you're like, what? My whole glove's bloody. I'm like, oh, God, get this. Or I got caught a skate blade right in my inner thigh. You don't realize you're cut because your adrenaline's going, because everything hurts when you hit guys and stuff, so you don't realize when you get that slice, it's got you. And all of a sudden your whole boot's bloody, and you're like, damn, dude, and all of a sudden you get dizzy. Whew, damn right, skate blades, man. Sticks, pucks. Pucks are the worst. You get puck in the face, puck in the ankle. I mean, there's a million ways to get injured. Webster goes, Weenie Weigler chimes in and goes, Cam, I wish I could find the graph from Reeves' short time in Pittsburgh. It showed the average amount of penalties against Crosby before Reeves played in Pitt. Reeves as a Penguin and after he went to the Knights. The proof is in the pudding. Let the players police themselves with a tough guy on each team. Hopefully the league can adapt the next few years and have a hybrid version will be created. That is such a good post. If I had a T-shirt, I'd give it to you. You're damn right. You can't just have Boogie. You can't have guys like me or, the guys that are kind of just, they hit, but they're not going to put. You got to have a hybrid, exactly what you said, a guy that can play some minutes, a Klim Kostin who could throw heat if he wanted to stick up for your teammates, but could play 10 times better than me, move around quicker. Although I probably was pretty fast. But you get my drift on that. You got to be able to play, so you can't just call up heavies that play 2 minutes a game. They got to play at least 7 to 10 minutes. So they're there. You don't think all these tough Canadian kids won't want to come up and stick up? I mean, I don't know, man. There's a balance, and GMs are going to look at that. But I think it's great for hockey. You don't want to see guys get hurt, but I think it's good to have your evil guys in hockey like that, as long as you do suspend them when it's completely necessary, a.k.a. Oscar Sundqvist.
Okay, real quick. Let me ask you
ahead.
this.
And then go to your live read, and we'll go to break.
Will do.
Cool.
It is a question, though, so you'll have to respond. Please.
Oh, no. Okay, go.
Is there a hockey code where it's supposed to be a fair fight? And when I say that, look, I know there's a scrum going on, so all of a sudden you got 10 guys in there, and you're fighting basically whoever's in front of you. But is part of this the fact that it's 6'3", 230 versus 5'11", 180? And in that case, even though Tom Wilson is a bully, he's done this before, Is he supposed to treat a smaller player like that gentler, and should it be more of, hey, if I'm going to fight, I'm going to go against your guy that's as big as me? Is there any of that?
You're 100%. So here's what you do. He did that. He threw him down. He could have ragdolled him, dude. So this is what I did. Whenever I would hit a guy, they didn't have their heavies out there, and then one of the guys who, I was always like nice. I was crazy, but I always would be like wink at a guy, like, "Hey, what up, babe? Like, man, you doing good, man?" Like, but then I'm gonna go hit you. Like, I'm gonna go hit you. Like, I'd be kind of buddy with guys because I want that, man. It's like respect. What's up, man? They always respected me. It was all good. But if I got into a situation where a smaller guy had to grab me, except for the one time with Bradley because I was already crazy mode, and I told you I messed that one up. I would just grab him and I'd ragdoll him, and I'm like, "I own you. I own you." Everybody in the rink knows it. I look at their bench like, I'll bag them up, and I'm not going to do it. Get on with yourself. Like, that's what you do. You're like, I own you, but I'm not going to beat you to a pulp because it's just respect, man. Like, but if it's a guy that's pretty tough, like, I'm going to go you, dude, and I'm going to throw as hard as I can. But if it's a kid like Cam, I just got to do this. I'm like, all right, come here, you. I'll put you down. I might slap you around a little bit just to kind of let everybody know what's up, and then you're fine, It sounds so weird and bullish, but that's hockey. Somebody the other day, Corey Hirsch, who I like and respect, was like, "Oh, this is toxic masculinity." I'm like, what? Now I get that phrase in like the workplace around women and stuff. Like, I get that, man. Like, guys walking around like, "Rah." But like in hockey, masculinity against other men. Well, don't you kind of want that? I do. I want like masculine dudes on my team. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. It's going in so many different directions. I can't keep up with it. Drives me crazy.